Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. We're going to have a match in Division A tonight. That's my co-caster, Alice. She's going to try to keep her relatively quiet tonight. We're going to have a game here between Team Name and Gimme the D-Shield. Just a quick look at the standings here. So Gimme the D-Shield is currently in 4th place with 17 points, and Team Name sitting in 10th with 10 points. Now, Division A still has another week to go, so there are a few matches left to play here. It looks like a lot of the teams have 10, some of them have 9. So there's at least one more match to play. No, actually, there are several matches to play. It looks like there are 12 total matches to be played, and most of these are 9 and 10. So still a lot of potential for movement in the ranks here, as everybody gets those flex matches in. And it looks like, let me just double check. Looks like everybody's ready. I'm going to go ahead and hop you over to the NGS Patreon as a quick commercial. Feel free to stop by the Patreon website and contribute to this fine establishment of amateur HOTS that helps us to pay the bills. Alrighty. So, quick overview of the maps as we get ready for the draft here. The bans, we had Alterac Pass was banned out by Gimme the D-Shield, and Infernal Shrines banned out by Team Name. And then D-Shield picking up on Tomb of the Spider Queen. We're going to go and hop right over there, because that's what they're doing. And we have the quick bans coming out. They don't want to give anybody time to think here. So Johanna, Gul'dan, Zeratul all being banned out. Zeratul being an absolute terror in Div A from what I recall in the Nexus Edge. I believe that they said that he is picked or banned pretty much all the time, and when he's not banned, he wins. It's just game over. He's like an 80% win rate or something. So first pick of the game going to be a Nubarak going over to Logicalia. Nubarak did see a little bit of a nerf this week, a little bit longer cooldown time on his Cocoon, and the increased mana cost, if I remember correctly, but also reducing that spell power on beetles with the beetle talent from 40 to 30. And here comes Ana and Hanzo representing Overwatch in the Nexus. Ana being pretty much the most, I guess, valuable maybe hero that we've seen. Certainly in the lower divisions, we see plenty of Ana bans and selections. And we've got Jaina and Deckard. Deckard kind of making a little bit of a resurgence with those changes this week, getting used to the new potions being increased. Now he doesn't have a cleanse, so that's his primary weakness. So we'll see how that turns out. And the ban onto Imperius. Imperius being a really solid solo laner these days. He pretty much since he joined the Nexus, as he has that percent damage talent at level 1, and then the ban onto Garrosh. Not a big surprise. The Imperius, getting that significant damage into Garrosh. I expect we, may very well see a Diablo coming out. He's really the last top tier tank. As well, there he is. Let's see, and the Kerrigan. Don't see a lot of Kerrigan down in the Div C and Div D range. I think I've seen her maybe once, but have seen her a couple times here in these upper tiers. She requires a certain set of skills to play effectively and score those combos. and Phoenix and Leoric. So we've got the slows coming out of Jaina to help with the potential for Purification Salvo, or we might just see a Tomb Meme Beam. Maybe that's a thing in this game. Got some roots, got some slows, potentially a ring combo off of that. You've got the Entomb potential with the ring. You've got the web going out probably, maybe on the Diablo. In any case, some significant value going into that Purification Salvo if they take it. Let's see, I got a Numerak. Oh, not Johanna. Who's Majesty playing? Phoenix, there we go. Phoenix, Jaina, Leoric. Kerrigan, Diablo. Raynor for Samwise. Alrighty then. Game 1 coming in on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Getting ready to get this match started. So game 1 between Team Name, currently ranked number 10, and Gimme The D-Shield, ranked at number 4. If you're here supporting your team or a friend of yours or something, shout them out in chat. Tell them how much you're excited for them to win this next matchup, and give them all your love, as they say. Oh, this game takes longer to load than most. Maybe have somebody with a potato out there. Alrighty, so today we're starting over here on the right side. I'm gonna have to check to see if there's a reason that sometimes it starts left and right. But anyways, on the right side we have Gimme The D-Shield. Rexba is going to be playing the Hanzo. We've got Pandemona on Ana, Zalaccio on the Kerrigan, Nutster on Diablo, and Samwise on the Raynor. And on the left side, let's go ahead and get off that. There we go. On the left side, we have Team Name. Logicalia is going to be on the Nubarak. Patience on Deckard. Phoenix is going to be played by Majesty. A Lil Killer Pony is going to be covered by Jaina. And Nova Rising is going to be coming in on that Leoric. Take a quick moment to look at those initial level 1 talents as full 5 versus 5 in the middle here. And of course, Diablo not having a whole lot of health, so this may slightly be in favor of Team Name in the early game at least, until they get caught up. The web, or not the web, the wave clear certainly in this lower level is going to be in favor of Team Name between that Phoenix and Jaina. They've got a pretty decent amount of burst in that to burn these down, whereas Hanzo right now just isn't going to get a whole lot of value, and Raynor only has his every 4th auto attack. Diablo's going to charge in on the Nubarak, sleep on him, the root goes out, hits 3 members of D-Shield, and allows a Nubarak to go ahead and walk away. Down in the bot lane, we have Kerrigan chunking down the Leoric. Must have missed that spooky hand. We'll have to be keeping an eye on that matchup. And back up on these rotations, XP pretty much exactly the same between these two teams, as Rexpa's going to go ahead and soak that mid lane, and it's going to be 4v3 up in the top. Just getting some poke out there. Nothing too crazy at the beginning of the game. They just want to get this XP. We are continuing to see the grenade build coming out of Ana. And I completely missed that pull down here because I pulled up the talents. So Leoric did end up going down to that Kerrigan. Gonna have to be careful there, as the Blizzard's gonna hit Diablo and Rexpa on the Hanzo there. And Hanzo already done with 1 set of 3 stacks on his arrows, on his Stormbow attack. And once he hits everybody, he gets that additional range. I believe it's 30%, and eventually that'll give him a nice big damage boost as we get level 4 talents coming up for both teams almost at the same time. Currently 0-0 on these gems. Neither team electing to turn those in just yet. Phoenix is going to come in, try to capture this Kerrigan with the slow coming out from Leoric as well. Stun getting hit onto the Phoenix. He's going really low, but it is going to be Kerrigan that goes down. And by low, I mean his shield, of course. Because, of course, his health was at like 90%. So Leoric ultimately getting his revenge onto that Kerrigan, gets his 11 gems turned in, as now Rexpa is going to go ahead and get his 7 turned in as well. And Phoenix is going to grab this bot lane camp, the siege camp, since they did get that pressure away from Leoric with the Kerrigan. 27 gems going in for Anubarak. Team name now sitting at 38 gems. So very close to turn in. Not quite enough just yet, but they'll have it soon. And let's see, what do we got here? So down in bot lane, Kerrigan once again versus the Leoric, but now this time she's going to have a couple of giants throwing rocks at her. And Leoric's going to go ahead and move up. Probably going to try to help his team get these gems turned in. Ghost walk in on the Rainer, slowing him down, gets his spooky hand out there, but nobody's there to help him out. Finish that job. And Rexpa getting a little bit of damage into this Jaina as Diablo shadow charges in on the Anubarak just to push him away from Hanzo. Hanzo doesn't have a whole lot of health, so even somebody like Anubarak, even with that reduced auto attack damage, could potentially cause Hanzo some problems. And we do see he's up now to 2 stacks completed. And Anubarak dives in, manages to get both Ana and Hanzo. Phoenix trying to get that Q damage in on Hanzo. 46 health as he jumps over the wall just in time as level 7 talents come in. Back down here with this matchup between Kerrigan and Leoric, the pull in, as he misses again the ghostly hand and manages to get away thanks to his Wraith Walk. Ghostly hand? Probably Spectral Hand. I feel like that's probably what it's called. And getting the Potion of Shielding and the Kanai's Cube for reduced damage coming out of the Deckard. Let's check in on Leoric and Kerrigan down here, see what's going on here. As the top level 4v4 getting ready to push in with these first web weavers of the game. Leoric getting some pretty significant damage against Kerrigan. She's got to be careful. She's about 3rd now. She's going to get the stun out, but Leoric's going to get that slow, and he's just trying to finish off just one more hit, and he does finish that. As Anubarak is in here deep by himself, as Diablo will flip him over and try to get damage from the keep onto him, but he's going to go ahead and walk away thanks to the minion wave that's going to show up. Top wall is going to go down. That's a pretty decent start to such an early set of web weavers. The mid wall is also going to go down, and obviously Leoric having that push against Kerrigan is going to get good value down here. But D-Shield's coming back in. They don't want to give up a fort this early in the game, so they want to get as much pushback as they can. Diablo's got to be careful though. He's got 30 gems as the stun goes out on him, and team name getting some pressure in here, but there goes their web weaver in the mid. Down in the bot lane, Kerrigan did show back up. Diablo shadow charges Anubarak into the wall, but the root goes out to prevent Diablo from getting any significant pressure back onto him. And the damage coming out from Hanzo does chunk down that Anubarak. And shortly thereafter, the Jaina as well. And it looks like they did, Leoric was able to get this bottom fort down, and the second fort in the mid is almost down as well. Anubarak's going to dive in on that Diablo who's got Blizzard coming out on him, but Jaina's in trouble as Rexpa manages to hunt her down. Leoric gets the Spectral Hand on the Diablo, but he just walks away. No big deal. As it looks like D-Shield is going to get that turn-in, Anubarak electing instead to attack Rexpa with the stun instead of throwing that at Rainer and potentially stalling. So first red web weaver of the game as we start to see our heroics getting picked up here. Ana with the nano boost, the Ultralisk out of Kerrigan, Lightning Breath for Diablo, Rainer's Raider, and the Dragon's Arrow for Hanzo. And it is the Purification Salvo as Diablo's going to charge in on the Anubarak. Misses the wall though, so it doesn't get that stun. We do see the Ring of Frost and Tomb and the Cocoon, and we'll just have to wait and see what Deckard's going to take. I somewhat expect to stay a while and listen. We'll see if the old man's going to tell any stories today. Top lane, Shadow Charge in on the Anubarak, pushing him into that wall, getting that stun, but the root comes out, and the Kanai's Cube onto Diablo and Ana, reducing their damage. There goes the Dragon's Arrow onto the Anubarak in the back, but it's no follow-up as the Ring of Frost manages to hit Hanzo and Diablo, bringing them down low. Diablo does pick up those gems, but he's so low. Anubarak gets the stun out, finishes the Diablo, and now Samwise is in trouble as he finishes Anubarak, but he's got 25 gems and 3 members of Team Name there as the Entomb goes out to catch the Ana. So 4 members of D-Shield going back to their graveyard on their Web Weavers. However, this bottom lane did get pushed up significantly. They got an equal amount of structure damage. In fact, a little bit more because they're getting this wall now and the towers. Did not get anything in the mid lane, although this did go down for D-Shield. So then, now they have 2 down here. And probably not an ideal trade for them. Not probably. It definitely wasn't. Jaina's going to get charged by the Diablo as Kerrigan's going to bounce in, pop the Ultralisk. Diablo's rooted in the back, and the Ultralisk will go down, but the Kerrigan combo goes out on the Phoenix, and he does go down quickly. Lightning Breath coming out onto the Anubarak and the Jaina, slowing them down and finishing them both off. So D-Shield coming in with the answer to that last team fight, and they want this top boss. They don't have enough gems to turn in quite yet, so they want to get this boss, get whatever value they can out of it, and push that top lane, see if they can't get this top fort. Top lane being, generally speaking, just a deadly way to finish this game. You combo a boss followed by an immediate spider turn in, and if this fort's down, you're not talking fort or keep, you're talking game at that point. With very minimal kills, maybe 1. Root coming out from the flanking Deckard. Can't believe I just said that. As the boss with 3/4 health will finish off this top fort. And Leoric in a little bit of a dangerous spot, but he can walk away. And D-Shield's going to go ahead and start working on getting some pressure in these other lanes, getting some XP, getting towards that 16 and their next power spike. And right now, they want to get this mid fort. They know that the members of Team Name had to be in that top lane to deal with that boss. Now that they're all away, they got to pull away, but they did get half of the half of that fort down, so that's going to give them absolutely no additional pressure. But soon the Crystallis goes out for Kerrigan, but unfortunately she gets caught by that stay a while. The Anubarak Burrow Charge catches her, the Ring of Frost catches the Rainer, the Purification Salvo going out and hitting everybody, but really only getting the significant damage of the upgraded slow damage to Rainer, and bringing 2 for nothing on Team Name as they will now invade in on D-Shield's camp. And these camps, you don't see them taken all that often in these matches, unless you get a significant push or you're trying to maybe counter a spider wave that's coming in. Maybe you'll go grab yours. But when you get that double kill and you've got some time to get some pressure out there, that's a quick burn for some XP. It now puts pressure into this mid lane. They have to clear this, and they do get that Web Weaver turn in. So now they can combo that pressure. They'll also have these giants now to add additional pressure in this bot lane. And it looks like that's where D-Shield's going to go ahead and make their stand. They know that this is the most pushed up lane and the potentially greatest threat to just ending the game right now. So 5 versus 4 as Leoric is coming down now. Possibly looking for that Entomb as Anubarak's going to get Shadow Charged. He is going to burrow out. The Dragon's Arrow hits 3. Lightning Breath going out with the Entomb hitting only Rainer. Crystallis on the Kerrigan is going to get her healed up, but Leoric's going to go down. The Ring of Frost hitting absolutely nothing, but the Purification Salvo is going to go out. Hit a couple of members, but doesn't get any... Oh, no, they did get the kill. They got the Kerrigan kill. As the disengaged stay a while, trying to slow things down, letting Phoenix get out here in this bush as 2-for-1 trade. They did get the Kerrigan, but also lost the Leoric as part of that, and the Jaina shortly after. Now, the value they get from these spiders, they got a little bit here on this bottom lane. They did get that top fort now, so they are equal in that lane as well. And they got the wall out of this mid. So is it worth a 2-for-1 trade? Probably at that point. That's probably a significantly more valuable trade of losing a hero. Now they're going to go ahead and burn down their camp because they can't fight into that. They're uneven on the numbers. 3v4. They don't want any part of that. So now they are working to get gems, or more immediately to prevent D-Shield from getting their gems turned in. Or not. They expected him to come down here, and D-Shield said, haha, we're going top. The Leoric gets flipped over, slept, and gets deleted. He was just a little bit too far forward, and don't face check those bushes, folks. That's what happens. It doesn't matter if you're Leoric and you can walk out. If you're gonna check it, if you're gonna face check it as a ghost. 16 talents posted there for you. We do see the auto attack build for the Leoric at 16. And these web weavers. The top lane is pretty pushed out. Kerrigan go ahead and dive in on the Anubarak, but he dodges the combo as nobody gets hit by the spider wave. And Diablo go ahead and charge in on that Leoric. Once again, he's in trouble. He's at half health. The Dragon's Arrow hitting a solid 3 members of Team Aim, and 2 of those members will go down shortly after. Jaina pops her ice block, but she gets flipped by Diablo and destroyed by Kerrigan. The Anubarak trying to dive in to save her, but that's not happening. As now 4-for-1, somewhere in there, Ana died. I missed that. And but they've got all their damage. They have a huge wave here coming in with these web weavers. Both top and bot still have their web weavers for a little bit, so there's going to be some more damage there. Kerrigan trying to run around and chase after Deckard. Deckard's just there's not a lot he can do right now. He's not a DPSer here, so they are going to go ahead and get in on this core. And nobody with significant threat to them is coming up, so this is looks like it's gonna be game 1 in favor of Gimme the D-Shield. It only takes one good team fight. If you can set up a solid bush gank, get an isolated kill, if you can get those structures, which is exactly what D-Shield did. They set it up so that they could get some pressure in those lanes. They didn't care about the fact that top web weaver was way in the back. They had the push middle, and they pushed forward with that, got that fort almost immediately because they had it at half health. They pushed into the keep, got some kills, and then said, you know what, there's 25 seconds until the end of the game. We have enough siege damage with Raynor Hanzo. Let's do this. And they did. Well enough before team name could even show back up onto the map with only a Deckard to try to help them. Quick overview of the talents here. Again, the Stormbow build coming out for Hanzo. The Ace in the Hole build for Raynor. Pretty much standard just about every map, if not every map, depending on who you are. And pretty well standard build for Jaina as well. Don't really see anything. I'm not a big follower of Leoric, so I don't know the differences there other than that auto attack. I don't see a lot of that. Sometimes though. So about what you would expect out of these teams for these characters and the combos that they were trying to execute. And they did. Both teams had some really fantastic combinations in these. Just in this circumstance, the last fight that they took was the one that ended the game. So let's go ahead and update our map standings here. So that went over to D-Shield. So Gimme the D-Shield now up 1-0. Exactly, Butte. You gotta check those bushes. You cannot just leave those open. Looks like we are going to be going to Dragonshire. Update that. And on the right, Team 1 drafting first. So this is the D-Shield's pick. It's like. Dragonshire. Dragonshire has a little bit more value to those camps than the Tomb of the Spider Queen. You do see that more often. The teams will pick up the siege camps or even the bruiser camps, keeping that pressure up in those close lanes where the shrines are, in preparation to try to get an advantage and then ultimately get the Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight, just a massive beast of damage with the additional siege damage it does, with the fire breath that it does, and even its punt can do a not insignificant amount of damage to a player, so long as you're able to land it. So we will be back in just a moment as we get the teams back into the draft and ready to go. All right, so one team is all set and ready to go. And we should, looks like the other team is as well, so we'll be hopping into the draft here in just a moment. While we wait for that, take a moment to look at the upcoming matches. We have a few matches left in Div D and Div C coming up this weekend. Not all of them are being cast, but do take the time to check that calendar, because these Div D games and even the Div C do make a big difference in what's going to be happening with these standings going into the playoffs. So check those out. Check the calendar if you haven't, if you didn't get a chance to catch it as it was going by, as these will be very important for the playoff standings. For some, it's whether or not they get in, and for others, it's how high can they climb. All right, so again, we are going to Dragonshire for game number 2. And we'll see how things get started on this draft. Let's see, make sure the players are all set up correctly. I like those nifty little pop-ups at the beginning. It reminds me of the old HCC, you know? RIP. So Johanna being banned out again. I believe that was the first ban. I meant to write that down earlier, but I didn't. So I'll go ahead and write down this match's bans. Maybe they'll be kind enough to remind me what they banned in the first round by picking all of the exact same heroes. So far, we're there, 100%. Zeratul, I do remember that, and the Maev was the second one, so there we go. Let's see here. So we got the Ana pick, we got the Hanzo pick. Those dragon arrows were pretty well on point, other than the one on the Anubarak, which unfortunately didn't have any follow-up. Still hit him though. Every other one hit, I think, 3 members of team name. They were really on top of that. Orphea being banned out. Kind of surprised. The only thing that I actually know about these teams is Rexba equals Orphea. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't ban that out early in the last game. Unless they did. I don't recall them doing that, but I don't remember who their second ban was last time. I don't think it was Orphea. So we'll see. We're not going to get to see Rexba's Orphea today, at least not in this game. And there goes the Maev. So they really don't want to deal with those divey heroes with significant amount of threat potential. And looks like Diablo's going to go ahead and switch teams this game. Diablo going over to Logicalia, who played Anubarak last round. So in some ways, kind of a similar concept. You have that Shadow Charge instead of the Burrow Charge. Shadow Charge, of course, meaning that you have to target somebody to get into or out of. And Pandemonium going to go ahead and stick with that Ana. Why wouldn't you? It worked out just fine last game. And Nutster going to now pick up the Muradin. Now, interesting statistic from Nexus Edge was just how low of an impact Muradin has had. His popularity was not fantastic. Gul'dan, thank you, Pandemona. His popularity isn't that fantastic, but his win rate was absolutely abysmal. And I don't remember which one of them mentioned it. I think it may have been Wono, but you know, as kind of the outstanding, should be better hero of what we're seeing in the standings. So Majesty going to go ahead and pick up the Hanzo. So a little bit of a switch in the teams here, almost exactly, other than this new Lucio coming out. And there goes the Abathur. Abathur on Dragonshire can cause a pretty significant boost of XP to your team, as the rest of your team or the rest of the enemy team trying to fight over those control points for the Dragon Knight. Let's see, Patience is on Lucio. And the last one being the Rainer. So a lot of the last match being taken or banned out by team name, trying to keep the game going in a different direction, or maybe they're taking it away or to make sure they don't get it, or maybe they feel they can do a better job. We'll see. Going to be a lot of pressure on Hanzo there on Majesty to hit those arrows, as well as Rexpa was. And Rexpa says, "Hey, you know what? I don't need to play the teenager, the angsty teenager. I'll play the timeless dragon." As he whips out the new Chromie. So both of the reworked heroes coming back to play on this map. And I gotta tell you, I'm excited about that, because I don't think I've seen either one of these heroes be played yet since their reworks. And we get the Kael'thas and Thrall out of the last part of Team Name's draft. Now, I'll tell you, I hear all the time about how Kael'thas is really a Div D, Div C hero. You know, he punishes teams that do not pay attention to living bombs, who stand in his bad. He does get that solid CC out of his gravity lapse. And finally, the Rexar for Gimme the D-Shield. Rexar being able to hold on to these points for pretty much the entire match and not even have to worry about it. Thank you, Wings. Last game the Rainer was played. Z play Imperious. Well, in about 30 seconds, you'll find out that that's not what happened. So, anyways, I had a point. New heroes, things, stuff. I don't remember what it was. Anyways. Kael'thas. I was talking about Kael'thas. Kael'thas being a hero that shines in Div C and Div D. And I was always given that impression that in Div A and Heroic that, you know, Kael'thas just wasn't a hero. He didn't exist there. But as we're seeing today, he is alive and well, and we'll see how much value he can get on spreading these living bombs. Gonna probably try to get those in those team fights against Rexar, because everybody else on this team is just really spread out. So we'll see how effective he can be with those living bombs and flame strike stacks, at least pre-20. All right, so to get things started, on the left we have Team Name. Team Name has Majesty on the Hanzo, Logicalia on Diablo, Nova Rising playing the Thrall, Lil Killer Pony is playing the Kael'thas, and Patience gonna come in on that Lucio, ripping the new Lucio skin. And on Gimme the D-Shield, we have Rexpa on the Chromie. We've got Nutster playing the Muradin. Anna's going to be played by Pandemona. Samwise on the Lunara. And Rexar's going to be played by Zalachio. And in the middle, we've got our team fight going out here. Once again, Diablo being a little bit less of a hero. He's going to go ahead and scout out that bottom bush so they know that there's a Chromie time trap. And of course, the cues from Chromie and the time trap, in fact, all of her abilities really got slight adjustments now. So a little bit different of a hero. Diablo's going to flip Muradin as they're chasing down the Hanzo in the bot lane with Lunara. She's got Hanzo very low, but not quite low enough, as she did get chased down by Lucio. So Chromie coming in with those Q stacks that now hit everything. Quite literally everything. Whether it's minion structures, doesn't matter. And she did take that stacking Q talent, so eventually she will have a third version of herself on the board. And her Dragon's Breath now no longer shows to the enemy team. So it's a little bit harder to dodge that, at least the first and possibly the second burst, because now it's a vector targeted bomb. Her time traps are now activated. And let's see. Her temporal loop has a cooldown reduction built into it now. So I guess Slowing Sands is really the only thing she had in her kit. It didn't really change. Lunara coming over here to get this siege camp. About 3 minutes faster than the first one was taken on Tomb of the Spider Queen, roughly. Let's check up this matchup between Thrall and Rexxar. Both of them about half health. And let's take a look at those talents. So Thrall going into the Green Lightning to give him some more, what is it, healing? Maybe not. Just more bounces. And then we've got the Hunter-Gatherer for Rexxar to try to help keep the armor stacks going once he catches all of those globes. One important change there as Diablo gets chunked down with a couple of shots out of Chromie. She's over halfway done now with her quest. Is that the level 1 talent for Rexxar being changed up pretty significantly as the time trap goes out, but they're not going to really get any value out of that. But they're getting value out of those Q stacks. Chromie setting up and just dropping them through that choke point that they have to all go through as Murden gets chunked down a bit here. And we are seeing now the 4 talents coming out for... I guess they already had them. Kael'thas just hadn't gotten around to picking up. Rexxar very low here against this Thrall, and that level 1 talent giving him the opportunity to bounce more of his Q stacks helps to give that potential damage onto the Rexxar, bouncing it off of Misha or the minions. Just makes it a little bit more likely that that's going to make it all the way back to him, as he has to go back and probably looks like he's going to go tap. And in the bot lane, we've got 4v3, Lunara being in the middle as Chromie finishes her Q stacks. And Muradin just gets chunked down. He's very low, but he's Muradin, and at level 1, he did not take third wind, so he'll still heal up a bunch, but it'll just take a little bit longer than it could have otherwise. As Misha's going to go ahead and take this top point, and that's why you take Rexxar here, so she can sit on the point and win. Diablo's going to flip and charge the Muradin, but unfortunately misses the stun, so Muradin just jumps out and says, not today. And we do see that Majesty's a little bit low on mana on the Hanzo there. And Hanzo going into the scatter arrows build, simple geometry. As up in the top lane, Thrall and Rexxar get into a little bit of a brawl, and Thrall gets taken down for first blood, with Rexxar being very close as well. Lunara's going to get caught by that Kael'thas, and the Living Bomb going out will get her down fairly low, but Anna's going to keep her going. Excuse me. And it is a 4v3 in the middle here. They've got that time trap set up to protect whoever's going to be able to get in that shrine. As it looks like Kael'thas is going to get caught and brought down thanks to the Chromie damage there. But now Chromie's being flipped over by Diablo as he walks away. He doesn't want to be in the middle of that. Nutster on the Muradin getting chunked down as well. And Rexxar coming in just to remind everybody that he's got a big badass bear. And Hanzo was able to get down here, collect this shrine to make sure that the Dragon Knight was not taken by Gimme the D-Shield. Checking in on Misha, Rexxar, and Thrall, going about even here, continuing to push in that lane, and it looks like they do get this bottom shrine back here. Murden getting the stun onto Diablo, the sleep onto Diablo, now the grenade onto Diablo as he's slowed by that slowing sands. He does manage to get a charge out on the Murden, but it's not enough as Murden will finish that. And now, once again, a 5v4 scenario that could lead to them having the opportunity to take this Dragon Knight. But right now, they're mostly interested in taking damage on these two in the bot lane. Chromie hitting all 3 hits onto that Lucio, bringing him down to about 60%. Slowing Sands, and there goes the damage coming out from Chromie, all but ensuring that this will now be the first Dragon Knight of the game, going over to Gimme the D-Shield. And they're going to go ahead and start up here at the top. They're making sure to start on the edge of that, so you only take, if you're going to take tower shots, you only take one tower shot. And it was already fairly low, so she only got a couple of hits on the Dragon Knight. And the Fire going to go ahead and work on bringing that wall down, as now they're going to come into the bot lane. The bot lane, generally speaking on this map, is the most dangerous because you have both of those Siege Giant camps. You've got the Bruiser camp, and with that combination, if you can get a good solid Merc camp stack going, you can end the game very easily. Looks like we're going to have 4 members coming down from Team Name trying to get in on this. We get the Sleep Dart down on the Kael'thas, trying to get this dragon down before it finishes this fort, and it's going to be a little bit too late for that, as Diablo does finally get his souls completed. The ults, by the way, coming out for D-Shield, as they've got the Nano Boost, the Boars, Unleash the Boars Avatar, Leaping Strike, and of course the Slowing Sands. Thrall's going to go ahead and get the Sunder, as we did hear the Boars coming out from Rexxar, and he is able to get that. The Dragon's Arrow, a little bit wide, just trying to get in there to help. The APOC coming out from the Diablo, I believe interrupted, somebody interrupted the sound barrier. Maybe there was just damage. I was looking in the other direction there as Diablo goes down from that Chromie. And Killer Pony there getting the Pyroblast out. It's not going to do any good because she's already dead, as Lunara goes down to the Hanzo poke. Alrighty then. So Diablo loses his souls. Rexxar dies to the Thrall thanks to that Sunder. And the rest of those ults, so we saw the Sunder, the APOC, the Pyroblast, Dragon's Arrow, and the Shield Barrier coming out from the Lucio. And I guess it wasn't interrupted because it's on full cooldown. Chromie's going to go ahead and get some damage out on the Kael'thas, but since he was just standing there, he didn't take the rest of those hits. Diablo coming in, looking at this Murden, flipping him first and then pushing him back into the team. I guess trying to keep him from jumping out or getting him a little bit farther back so his jump was still potentially in range. I think I would have rather seen him charge him into that wall. But everybody's alive. Could have been a worse decision. Up in the top lane, we do have this camp that was just picked up by Thrall here a moment ago, so he's going to try to use the spell armor from this camp to push in on Rexxar. Misha's getting super low, does get the stun onto Thrall. He's trying to keep up. He wants to try to get this bear down, but at this point he says, whatever, I'll get the damage onto Rexxar because he can't heal himself. Down in the bot lane, we did just hear the Boars going out, by the way, on Thrall, and actually we're going to go back there because he is very low. The Sunder is going to protect him. The APOC almost catches that Rexxar, but manages to avoid it. Logicalia on the Diablo goes down, as now the rest of the team is in danger. The shield going out on Kael'thas, he's going to try to get away but not quite make it. Majesty on the Hanzo is trying to get damage all over the place onto this Lunar, but she's just too fast for him. And Lucio and Hanzo would both go down, and this looks like it will very likely be another Dragon Knight heading over to Gimme the D-Shield, as Misha is going to protect that top lane from Thrall, and he's the only person from Team Name that can do anything about it. But before they get this Dragon Knight, they want to get that push that I mentioned earlier from this Siege camp and this Bruiser camp in the bot lane to help them push down this bottom keep with absolute certainty, getting that 20 spell armor out of the camp and the pushing power out of the Giants as well. Now Rexxar is going to go ahead and try to get this dragon, and he will be successful. So Misha takes a break, and we'll see ultimately where they decide to go with this. There's no wave for them right now, so the dragon's just taking free damage. Muradin's on the other side. They do see him there, as they're looking to give counter pressure opposite of the Merc camps that they just got. That way they can keep that Hanzo in the bot lane, as opposed to doing damage in on this Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight's going to go ahead and punt Diablo. Diablo doesn't do a ton of damage to this, but you know what? Get him out of here. And you'll once again, you'll see that positioning of the Dragon Knight, making sure to be on the upper part of that top tower to prevent the additional tower shots coming in. Punting away the Hanzo, or I'm sorry, the Thrall, and the Dragon Knight's almost done here. The Dragon Arrow going out, hitting a couple members of D-Shield, but not far enough back to get any significant stun time. Chromie's blasts just doing so much work here, straight onto the Lucio. Every single one of those is hitting and doing 1300 or so to Lucio, bringing him down to almost half just with one Q stack. And those Qs are going to continue to do significant damage, especially with the shifting stands, additional spell power. So once again, Rexpa saying, that's fine, you can ban out my Orphea, I've got a new toy. Looks like we've got a bit of a rotation now here, coming up to the top lane to try to maybe push in this top fort, as Murden, all by himself, just poking away at these people and pushing them back, keeping them a little bit of a threat, trying to prevent them from coming up in this lane to help defend. Here he comes in on the back line. He's going to try to get on that Kael'thas, but Kael'thas gets the gravity lapse, the stun out on the Thrall, but the Diablo charge in to push Murden away from him. Murden gets flipped over by Diablo, a little bit of a CC, I believe the Thrall route, as he has to pop Avatar just to make sure he gets out. But the big arrow coming in on the Murden and Ana, that's a huge stun followed up by the Apox. The Sunder getting them pushed back in the fort, but there's no fort to do any damage. The flip onto Diablo, the sound barrier goes out from Lucio. Got to keep these health bars up, as nobody's really dying at this point. But Logicality is now split out, and that's a problem. He's slowed by the Lunara, the Death Bridge preventing the D-Shield team from coming in. He is going to charge Lunara toward his fort, which is going to ultimately save his life. As Lucio using that reverse amp to try to get the finishing touch onto Lunara, but it's not that much damage, and Lunara being a significant threat if you're not careful, even on that Lucio with the healing. D-Shield electing to come up with their 16 talents to take the offensive camp. And that'll give them that spell armor in the top lane. It'll give them some push. But here comes Team Name trying to get in on this. Before they get it, Diablo's going to charge in. The Murden's very low. He's going to leap out just in the nick of time. The slowing sands is going to prevent Diablo from getting out and Thrall and cause that damage. The Dragon's Arrow misses everybody, but the Living Bomb managing to finish off the Muradin, as Diablo's able to finish off the Misha, and Rexar getting flipped in. And even with that slowing sands, the team is able to just keep pushing. But Hanzo getting a little aggressive there on the no mana Chromie, and she finishes his life there in rather quick fashion. Diablo going to go ahead and charge in on the Lunara with the assistance of Ana, and she's going to go ahead and walk away. But now she's going back in because she knows she can slow down this Diablo and get significant damage. Had him down to about half until that Lucio showed up and helped him to get away. And we have a pause. So we'll be just a moment. Going to go ahead and flip us over to another page as we give them a chance to clear up some lag. We are on a central server, so no issues there. And teams chatting about which coast they should be on. Of course, originally from the West Coast, I have to shout it out that it's the best coast. Currently living in the East, so I can't shout it too loudly. So we should be coming back to the game here in just a short bit. Actually, it looks like we've got a ready out of one team. We've got a ready out of the other team, so we're going to go ahead and hop back over, and we should be ready to go. So, when last we met our merry band of adventurers here, D-Shield was looking to get this giant camp, and the Dragon Shrines had just come up. They're all coming up here to make sure that nobody's up here, that, you know, Rexar's dead, but somebody else could be up here, and from Thrall's perspective, that's probably a fight he can win. But that means that 4 members of the D-Shield can come down here. They know one person's top, May not necessarily know who it was. I don't know if they were able to see him there. But they're looking around for this fight in any case. And Team Name's going to go ahead and they now have 5 members. They're going to get this Siege Giant camp. And D-Shield knows that they're here. Muradin is scoping things out, trying to get an idea of who all is here. As Diablo's going to get the charge in on the Muradin, but he's going to walk away now. Diablo finishing off that level 13 charge quest. And Rexar taking the top, but nobody's in the middle to get it because they all came down here to get this bottom bruiser camp. Right now they're not hanging out in that spell armor, so Team Name's able to push into that and work on getting that cleared as that mage goes down. And their own camp is still at pretty much full health, but that is unlikely to remain as Chromie is getting those sandblasts through. There goes the Dragon Arrow. It hits 2 members of D-Shield, but unfortunately nobody there to help with that. And we do see level 18 for Chromie. The Diablo flips Muradin once again into that wall. Living Bomb getting spread onto the Lunara. Lunara's going to leap over Hanzo and finish him off. Muradin missing the Stormbolt, diving into that team as Rexar's pushing top lane. Thrall trying to keep the mid fort alive. Diablo flipping once again the Muradin, charging him into the wall, trying to get some damage, but Lil Killer Pony's going to go down on the Kael'thas, and now Diablo, chunked down, is going to go down as well, and I believe he'll be right back. Lucio trying to make it out, but he just cannot keep up with that damage coming out of that Lunara. And so now, Chromie grabbing the shrine, and we'll see which of them. Looks like Chromie's going to be the one to head up there and grab this Dragon Knight. And with level 20s active, Chromie with those piercing sands, just a huge boost in damage. Diablo's going to charge in. He has no health. He's very low. He has no souls at all. He's going to APOC out there, but it's not going to hit anybody. Just trying to do what he can to stay alive, as Lunara is going to just keep pushing. We do see the intensifying toxin, so additional damage when Lunara has 3 stacks. See the rewind for Muradin. Frenzy of Kalimdor for the additional damage and slow speeds. And of course the upgraded nano boost given the heal for level 20 on the Ana. So D-Shield electing to go ahead and start working on these keeps, get as much pressure as they can. I guess they don't feel like with that Dragon Knight and their full team, minus the Rexar, that they'll be able to finish that core. And that's fair. There is a fair amount of damage from the other team as Hanzo gets taken out by that 3-stacked Nature's Toxin from the Lunara. The Diablo gets flipped up. I'm sorry, the Diablo flips the Muradin as he pops the Avatar. Thrall gets punted away as this Dragon Knight's almost dead. And Diablo in there once again, he's at half health. Just not very many souls. He's at 36 now thanks to these charges, but that's still not a huge boost for him. He needs a lot more to keep things involved in this fight. So now it is Rexar returning to the fight. We've got a 5v4. The Dragon Knight just went down. Piercing sands out of Chromie, so if they're not careful, once again, that can be a couple thousand damage on every single hero if they find in a choke point. And right now, they're pushing in. They want this final keep at the very minimum. If they get a kill or two, they may very well look for the game. Samwise's going to get caught by the Diablo. Charge stun, double charge stun. She's going to get caught by the Lucio damage, but the APOC goes out as well. And that bottom keep will go down, but look at the Lucio health. Almost dead as Chromie finishes that. The big Dragon's Arrow comes out, is on Rexar, almost dead, and there he goes as well. But Thrall's going to die into the Chromie. They have to be careful here. Chromie is just a machine gun. She time traps herself, but Hanzo's there to make sure that he can kill her off. The Kael'thas running away from the minion because even that minion could kill him at this point. Fair enough, ladies and gentlemen. Fair enough. It's I can't complain about the coast here. So what do we got here? So Team Name picking up their giants. They've got a 3v2 advantage technically on the map, but Kael'thas is busy. He has to clear this. And Ana and Muradin now coming over to work on their siege camp as well. We'll come back to that in about 3 minutes when she's done with that. Diablo and Hanzo are going to go ahead and pick up their tops bruiser camp. They've got to get pressure on this map. They have no structures down. They've got their back against the core. This is it. This next fight is going to be game for them if they lose it. If they win it and they can get a Dragon Knight, maybe they can. Maybe they can get to that quick fort kill, quick keep kill, because these Dragon Knights now at 20 minutes are going to do just massive amounts of damage to these structures. Misha capturing that top camp for D-Shield, as the rest of the team will come down here and start working on this bottom camp. They want to get this pressure and have that move with the Siege Giant camp. But it looks like Team Name's sniffing this out. They want to come down here, make sure that they can get some damage on this, but Thrall really deep in. He uses that teleport to get away, but Diablo charges in, gets the APOC in, and Lunara gets obliterated by that APOC. Ana following shortly thereafter, but the Chromie resets, not resets, she doesn't reset, the piercing, and the nano boost letting her cue her way to victory as people are just dying over here. Lucio able to keep them all alive other than that initial Thrall. But this Dragon Knight caught by the Rexar, and he's moving to the core. Punts that Diablo away, clears out the minions to give his 2 catapults behind, and looking to push down this core. Wants to get as much damage on there as possible. Punts the Hanzo away. Hanzo's now very low, so got to be really careful there. Pyro going out onto Chromie, but she's going to time trap herself, so that does 0 damage. As the core is falling 80% now, Chromie running around just trying to keep people off of her. As the Dragon now has it down to 50%. Diablo trying to slow things down, get this Dragon Knight dead, but it's too late. And game number 2 now going over to Gimme The D-Shield, as they will close out this series 2-0. Little bit more dominant on that map. The Tomb of the Spider Queen was one that was a little bit back and forth, somewhat even, but this Dragonshire game, it was 100% D-Shield from the moment they said go. And look at this Chromie damage, 118,000. Next highest, 77 with Lunara. Top 3 being over here on D-Shield's team, but almost double the amount of Hanzo on that damage. Just absolutely disgusting. And let's see here. So D-Shield. Who is the captain on that side? We'll just do that. And where's my Discord? Delachio responding. Delachio, where's my lobby? There we go. All right, so Red Rovers send over lobby 1. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave the stats up for just a moment here. Rexpa's back.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome to the chat. You know, so you may not have known this, but I was there to cast your guys' match a week or 2 ago against Queen's Consorts, but I was the co-caster. That was my first time actually talking about a match, so I was actually really excited to get to cast your game tonight.
Because we're the only team you're familiar with?
No. Oh, I've done a lot of casting since then. I think I'm up to 9 or 10 casts since that cast 2 weekends ago now.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so I've been all over the NGS scene here these last couple of weeks, but just because you guys were kind of my first, you know, you never forget your first.
I mean, unfortunately, that series didn't go the way we hoped, but you know what? That's in the past. We're not really worried about it. We'll clap them in the playoffs just like everyone else. So
there you go. And you know what? That's if there's one thing that I know about Rexpa, it's that Rexpa is an Orphea god. The second thing I know about Rexpa is that Rexpa has the confidence of, Thor, basically. So I'm glad that you were able to come into the chat here. So how do you guys feel about that matchup? How did that go for you?
We felt pretty good about it. I mean, again, we had to bring in a sub this week. I don't know if we've played with like a consistent 5 people at all this season. So like we had a different 5 running this week than we had our last game. But we felt pretty confident going into this. But even though like game 1, we never ran Kerrigan before, but I mean, we put in our off lane. Z said he could play it. I was pretty sure he was going to feed all game. I mean, he did pretty much. I think he had close to most sets in the game, which we weren't surprised about. But I think the whole series kind of went the way we expected it to go, so we're happy with how it went.
Sure, absolutely. And that first, so you guys picked both of the maps, correct?
Correct.
So that first map on Tomb of the Spider Queen definitely looked a little bit more even, right? The kills were 10 to 13. There were structures going down, left and right. They were one side then the other side, but ultimately you guys managed to finish out that game before level 20. You got one good solid team fight and said, hey, this is our game, right down the mid lane, right? There was still a fort down.
Yeah, so with our comp, the way we're running, we knew we were going to have like a pretty weak early game, because we kind of neglected on wave clear for more of a hard engage like team fighting comp, and we knew that comp was going to come more into play like once it gets to like mid to late game. Like our comp scale is a lot better than theirs does, so we weren't really worried about losing like forts early or anything like that. As long as that we were still in, we knew pretty much all we needed was just like one, doesn't even have to be a good engage, just one decent engage, and we had the comp for that. So we weren't really worried about how that game went. We felt pretty good about it for the most part throughout the entire game.
And then, of course, you go into game 2. They start picking up the heroes that you just won on the map prior. Did that affect your guys' draft at all, or were you even thinking about any of those heroes that they picked up?
Oh no, I'm gonna be honest with you. The heroes they were picking, I was getting super excited about it. Because I like trying to play the reworked Chromie into as many games as possible, or just like competitive games, and they kind of picked a comp perfect for it. So I just got super excited when they kept picking those heroes, and it just we felt really good into it as well. We really liked the Thrall in the top lane because it allows us to pick Rexar as well, but we felt really good about game 2, actually extremely good. I think the game 2 draft wise is probably as good as we could have wanted it.
So I have to ask, if they hadn't banned out the Orphea, would you have gone with the Orphea, or was Chromie the pick from the beginning?
I mean, I would love to play Orphea any chance I get, but most teams are starting to ban it every game now, so there's not really. I guess any chance that I could get to play Orphea, I would, because it doesn't really happen much often anymore. So
fair enough. So you guys have another week here of the season, right? Do you have 1 or 2 games left to do this season? Do you know?
We have 2. I think we have one Tuesday at 9 EST against PFM, and then we're supposed to have another flex game with Thick Mama Whitemane, but they're the team that's kind of ghosting everyone with scheduling their games, so we have no idea if anyone's gonna play them for the last 5 games of their schedule. So we're supposed to have 2, but we'll most likely only have 1.
Gotcha. And so that matchup you guys have coming up for PFM. So I'm just gonna flip over the standings real quick. PFM currently at 9th place, so just ahead of team name. Is there anything? Obviously, don't give away anything that you might be preparing for them, but is there anything that you're concerned about from them? Is there anything that you are looking forward to playing with them?
We've scrimmed them before, like probably before the season started, and if there's any team that knows how to throw a game, it's definitely them. So even if they're going to be in the lead, there's no doubt that they throw the lead away and we just get the win no matter what. So,
well, fair enough. That's pretty significant confidence. You guys now going up to 20 points, so you're tied with Dread Pirates. I don't know if you have a tiebreaker with them or not, but with that additional game, you may be able to pass them up now.
Well, we played them, I think 2 nights ago actually, and the series went 2-1, but it was actually series was 1-1, and then they had a game because one of their players had to leave, and they couldn't get a sub either. So technically we would win the tiebreaker, but the series was 1-1 before they had to forfeit the 3rd game, unfortunately, because that was a really fun series. It wasn't streamed at all, but that was a really fun series against them.
Gotcha. So that would be an exciting matchup if it comes down to that in the playoffs here. So, well, good deal. I'm going to ask this question because I always ask this question and I like asking it, but I think I already know the answer based on what we've talked about. But what is your favorite hero to play? Not necessarily your best hero, but the hero that you enjoy playing the most.
The hero that I enjoy the most is a hero that I clap the other team with the hardest. You know what I mean?
Fair
I mean,
enough.
that's gonna I could do that with Murky as well. I
Fair
mean,
enough.
any team in this Div A. But no, serious answer. I would probably say Orphea is probably one of the most fun. I would say just because of the outplay potential for the hero. I just like those kind of heroes that you can outplay others with, and it has more of a like a higher skill ceiling of a hero. So I'd
Right.
probably say Orphea at the moment.
Which is not a big surprise, right? That's probably the first thing I said, I think. So, good deal. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure casting your match. The floor is yours for any shout outs or comments you'd like to make.
All right, there's one person I haven't shout out all season, and I'm going to. It is Filthy Filth. He's watched all of our games throughout the season, and he's a very good-looking dude. He's also single, so if there's any guys, especially guys out there or girls that are single, slide into my DMs and I can hook you up. But I want to give a shout out to Zlakio. He and I are inseparable. We sleep together, but he's my favorite person in the world. And then just shout out to my team. They played really well tonight, really well all together, and just I'm proud of the progress we keep making. And then shout out to the rest of Div A. It's going to be unfortunate when they get clapped in the playoffs by a bunch of bronze, golds, and plat players. So I hope they're ready for that. So.
Well, good deal. Thank you very much for. Oh,
and
go
shout
ahead.
shout out to you as well. Thank you for casting your game.
Yeah, absolutely.
We greatly appreciate it.
Well, I was looking at that clock. It said 10 o'clock, and I was like, nobody's going to get this. You know what? Whatever. I'll go get it. So.
Yeah, the caster we were supposed to have against Dread Pirates ghosted us. I guess that person forgot, so we're just glad you didn't forget about us. Really
you know what? I think that was, if I remember right, that was Cat Peach, and I think that she had something come up, if I remember right. So, but that was a couple days ago, like you said. So, but hey, you know what? We got here. The match was cast. You'll be able to catch this replay and nitpick all of the wonderful things that I had to say about both teams. You guys played a fantastic series, and I do have to say, once 18 hit, Chromie was just a monster with those piercings. So, I think you hit Lucio a couple times, and he just dies. And you hit Lucio like he had a magnet for sand. So. Well done on your 2-0 victory tonight, and good luck versus PFM next week.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hopefully you cast us for that game as well. You did a really good job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty. And with that, we are all done for the evening. So once again, check out these the bar at the bottom here. We do have some matches coming up in the Nexus Gaming Series tomorrow. On this channel, you can catch the Div D West Asmo Carry versus Boogan Squad and the Stranger Pings versus Boogan Squad. Those are at 8:30 Eastern and 10:15 Eastern. Going to be doing a double header for Boogan Squad and myself. And then on Sunday, currently, I believe the only game that's being cast is the Div C East House of Ches versus Zul'jin Distillery. That's going to determine whether Zul'jin Distillery can succeed at replacing Wood League for the 8th seed slot in the playoffs. There are also 3 other games that are currently listed there for Sunday evening, 10:30, and 10:30. All of them in Div D, and they all have playoff implications as to who's going to make it. So I believe there are some casters picking those up. They haven't done so just yet. So keep an eye on that calendar and stop by and check out who's going to be going into the playoffs here for Div D East and West. And with that being said, once again, thank you for joining us this evening in this Division A matchup between team name Gimme The D-Shield and our final score being 2-0 in favor of Gimme The D-Shield. My name's Arrow. You're welcome to come back tomorrow and check out these Div D games. But until then, have a great weekend.